So this trans athlete has some actually interesting concepts about whether trans should be able to compete with biological women or not.
So let's talk about the obvious. Was it last night? Last night I get a message from Nico asking me my thoughts on what happened over the weekend. I had no idea what happened, so I asked him to inform me. And it was about this Jamie transgender who competed in Strong Woman and won. And then as I'm asking him for more information, I get about 24, almost 36 now, other people reaching out and asking me the same question. Where is your stance and how do you feel about this? I think one of the reasons why people are asking me is because I am a former strongman athlete. And I've been a strength coach for 25 years. And obviously I'm transitioning. Well, here's my point of view. I will be competing again in powerlifting for sure, and I'll be competing in the men's division. If I decide to compete again in strong woman, strong man, I will be competing in either the men's division or a trans division if there is one. As far as my point of view goes, no amount of low testosterone level is going to make up for bone density, the strength of existing muscle fibers and stuff like that. I myself have lost strength and muscle in the last 2 years that I've been transitioning and been on hormones. My testosterone level is less than 10, but I have only lost muscle mass and strength because I've had 3 surgeries this year alone, and I haven't been able to train more than a month here and there. So I've literally been out of the gym and out of competing and out of strength training for probably about 6-7 months throughout the course of this past year. So I do believe that my strength will come back up. There has been moments where my strength has dropped down to, like, for instance, my deadlift before I transitioned was at 600 in competition. After my transition and my surgeries, it dropped down to, after 2 surgeries, it dropped down to like 385. And then I got it back up to 485 in the 2.5 months that I was training. So I don't believe that having a low test should be something that is allowed for a trans woman to compete against women. I think the bottom line is that all trans people need to realize that there is consequences to your actions. You chose to transition, so you can no longer compete unless you're competing in a trans division or in a division of the biological sex you are. And that's it. So feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be happy to elaborate.
Well, one thing that I will say is, like, number one, I don't know just when so many middle-aged men started deciding to become women. I'm not entirely sure when this happened, but I digress. What I will say is this: in terms of the trans in sports conversation, this transgender person has a lot more reasonable approach to it than a lot of the other ones that are literally screaming about how these, like, 6'3", like 280-pound people that used to be dudes, like, until about 6 months ago, are now women and should be competing against biological women. And they will scream that, and they will say all of these things that just don't have any existence or relation to biological reality, right? So at least this person is not doing that. Like, for me personally, I've watched this conversation over years and years, and it seems that the culture has finally gotten to a place where we have pretty much decided that it was complete lunacy to ever allow biological men to compete with biological women in sports, whether those biological men identify as trans or not. So it seems like, to me, even though it's still going on in the high schools, by the way, like these super woke high schools all across the country, like, this is still happening. So it seems like it seems like what needs to be happening in strongman competitions or in these professional sports competitions is that there probably just needs to be a trans category, and they should just compete amongst themselves.